Hi, I am Dr. Antoinette Mwalbai, and I am a targeted individual. My story as a targeted individual started quickly after my arrival in Canada in 1988. I was a refugee and resettled in Canada. So on coming here, I had so many other concerns that I did not even realize what was going on per se until 2013. At that moment, I was able to read accounts on what other people were living through, and those people have coined a term, targeted individuals, which gives an accurate depiction of what we have to endure every day as a targeted individual. So my videos will be my contribution to the information that is now being put out by the victims of targeted attacks. I dedicate my videos to informing the public, of course, but I really dedicate them to the targeted individual of the world, because I hope that my coping mechanisms may be inspiring to them as theirs has been inspiring to me. So what is a targeted individual? A targeted individual is someone who lives under wanton and hidden attack, covert attack, every day. But my definition of a targeted individual is somewhat a little different. For me, targeted individuals are fighters of God, so to speak. And because we live in a world that is called modern world, that has been trying so hard to get rid of God, targeted individuals don't even know that they are at the forefront of the fight against God. Most of them, if you say you are a fighter for God, they might say no, because they don't even think about that. But that fight against God is a real fight by Satan or Set, because from Set to Satan, there is a whole history behind that. So without putting God into the equation, it is impossible to really understand why targeted individuals are targeted in the first place, and why they have to endure all these attacks on their lives. So for me, because of the existence of targeted individuals, the forces of evil could not proclaim their dominion on the earth. Therefore, for me, targeted individuals and those who came before them, all those who rebelled against injustice over the ages, all of them are fighters of God. And because of them, the fort of God, the fort of righteousness has been able to prevail until 2012. So that is my spiritual definition, because I think that without going into the spiritual realm, there is no way we can understand that somebody can just target somebody, make their life a hell, and try to kill them or try to make them go crazy. It's impossible to understand that without referring to the fight against God by Satan or Set. So in everyday life, what does that mean to be a targeted individual in everyday life? The forces of evil, as I mentioned, yeah, the forces of evil will be mentioned in my videos by the names of Satanist and Kabbalist, and that two words want us to express the tactics and the strategy that are used against targeted individual, because everything is satanic, but everything is hidden. So the two words are, for me, better suited to call them. So I will call them Satanists or Kabbalists or Satanist Kabbalists. So anybody, any organization, any group that is doing things in hiding to try to make people do things against their nature, against the human nature, for me, is a Satanist or Kabbalist. So a target lives under the reign of hidden terrorists. And those people, I call them terrorists, because there is no way they can be anything but terrorists. Indeed, from the moment the Satanists decide to attack someone, they push them toward doing things against other, their divine nature, other people, and therefore against their divine nature. And the more the target resists, and the more the Satanist will make his life a living hell. So there is no doubt in my mind that from the moment the forces of evil have decided to dominate human history, the existence of targeted individuals has been determinant in keeping the world, keeping the attributes of God in the world. And that's why we see people now getting, angry against what is happening, because they see that this is not what is going on is not natural to human nature. So when the world entered the 20th century, the systematic and improper use of technology to remotely attack humanity became increasingly prevalent. The exacerbation of that state of affairs became visible as the world entered the 21st century. Targeted individuals have thus paid a very heavy price in the silent war, because it is a silent war which the Satanist Kabbalists have been waging against the human race, because it's really a fight against humanity. So how did I come to understand that I was a target? How did I know that, how did I know when I became a target? I did not know at first, as I said, because I was so busy trying to make it in my new country. So I could not really realize that all the problem that I had did not have to be that way. So when I started reading the account of lives of targeted individuals, and listen to videos, listen to radio programs that were, denouncing the wrongdoing by the Satanists and Kabbalists, I started understanding that something was there. Usually, people become a target when they blow a whistle against some evil that is being done around them. We see Edward Snowden. He has blown a whistle against deep evil, against people, and what he said has been very important for targeted individual, because now we have a voice, and we know that what we are living is true. Before that, you cannot say that you are a targeted individual because you cannot prove it. Now with Edward Snowden, we know that these things exist, that these things are being done to people every day, and worse than what he has said. So I didn't know, I could not know, because at that time when I came here, there is no way you can know that you are a target. You just know that it is harder. You just know that when you go somewhere, things that were working well for everybody, when you come, it's not working that well, etc., etc. But I could not pinpoint the reason that I was suffering so much with 3 little kids. So all of the information that Edward Snowden put out has been able to confirm everything we live through, and from the standpoint of the evildoers, because before that it's only from the victims that you started having a few information. So targeted individual, from what Edward Snowden had said, has been vindicated to some extent. But before that, I could not put a timeline on what I was living. But when I started reading, before Edward Snowden came out with these documents and everything, I could not see what was going on with my life. And when I read the account of other people, I started understanding that something was not right. And I knew that the quickest way to destroy somebody's life was to make them insane, because this is what they used to do before Edward Snowden. If you come out and you say, well, I'm living this and people are following me and people are making my life a wreck, and etc., 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 people will just label you as insane, and then they institutionalize you and make you incapable to be of any use to you or to anybody else. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to call the targeted individual the fighters for God, because when you are incapacitated that way, when you are labeled insane, your word, no matter how wise it is, will never be taken seriously. So this was one way of deactivated one fighter that they have singled out as a target. So I knew that I was a target only in retrospect. I did not realize that I was per se. So as a matter of fact, nobody talked about it, as I said, so I could not call myself targeted individual or even a target for anything, because I thought that I was living something that has to be, or for any reason that I could not pinpoint. So before knowing that Satanists and Kabbalists have already divided the world in races and region and everything, I knew that. I had an idea that I was, as a black woman, as a woman coming from Africa, my plight would have been a little different, because the world was already divided in those areas and regions and races, and the black race was put under everybody else. So I thought that I was just living the consequences of that Satanist and Kabbalist division of the world already, but I could not see that on top of that I was a target. So according to, so moreover, as a member of the black race, when the division of the world had already put under everybody else, I was in the worst position as a target of specific attacks. So what I can say now is therefore that being targeted as an individual made my life really, really worse than anybody else, well, that I can think of. The simple fact that I was alone with 3 little kids is in a strange country, completely different from what I knew before, absolutely different in many, many ways. It was very tough. It was very tough. So being a target was like hell. As a matter of fact, a targeted individual knows indeed that to speak about anything that they were living was difficult. But as a targeted individual, a black woman, divorced, 3 kids, new immigrant, resettled, etc., this was like mind-boggling for me. And when I traced it up and found that I was targeted the moment I came, I realized that we have always been like valuable goods that the Satanists were trading to make a bunch of people happy and richer everywhere we moved. Like if I move from one area of the city to another one, then I'll make a lot of people happy around me because they would recruit the whole area. They will make people follow us, especially me. They will, they will do all those things, and people were getting paid to do all those nasty things to me. So we become valuable goods, and everybody was getting rich around us and forgetting that they are hurting people. So from 1988 to 2012, I was a target without understanding why. I was also why, and I was also a moving target without avoiding all the shots. So I just knew that something was wrong, so I moved place. I would take my kids and just pack and go to another place, but the same thing would start again, and so I was a moving target, but I could not avoid all the shots. So another thing was that when someone comes under the fires of the terrorists who attack targeted individuals, those terrorists seek first of all to push their victims into the worst misery possible, and they try to make sure to render their life, their living conditions so difficult, because they think that when they make your life very difficult, then you will reject your values. You will try to compromise with them. You will try to, whatever they're trying to make you let go. They hoped that you will drop all these because they are hitting you so hard. So I could not understand then. I could not understand the constant efforts that were being made to push me into a life of misery and despair, and that was already going on, and I can see that because I see it is not normal. I have qualifications. I have traveled in a lot of places in the world. Socially, I have no problem. Professionally, I had no problem. So what was going on that I could not really get my share in a place where we are supposed to have equal opportunities and a lot of opportunities. So even though a whistleblower could figure out the time they became a target, I could not figure out the time I became a target until 2013, when I started documenting the life of other targets. But I know that it was clear. It was clear that efforts were being made to make sure that I never get it in Canada unless I do it the way the Satanists want. And the worst part is they want you to do something, but they don't tell you what they want you to do because it is illegal what they're doing. They're hiding, so they try to push you to self-destruction, or because and all those ways they use to attack people. That's why I said, oh, this is a spiritual fight going on. It cannot be real, because for God, you have to have all your mind, you have to have all your, to understand what God is telling you, to do things according to God's law. But if you're doing things for God and you become insane, or you're touched in the head and you can't do it properly, they won't. They won't, because you can't be of service to you, to God, or to anybody else. So because they were attacking people and trying to make them sick in the head, that is one of the reasons why I went to the spiritual world, to be able to define what the target is, in my understanding of the situation. So today, more than 25 years later, the Satanists have made it their highest goal to show me that they will not stop attacking me. And you can see from the video that even though the attacks in the microwave are just kept at the level of the usual attacks on my side, you can see that I cannot use my two eyes at any time. I have contractions on my face, because they hoped that because they have tried to destroy my face, I would not dare put a video on the air that is going to anybody in the world can see that video. So they were hoping that I won't be able to show my face to the world. But I show my face to the world, because this is what the Satanists are doing to my life, and this is one of the visible result of their constant attack on my face, especially for the last 4 years. But it has been going on for the last 20-something years, because it started in 1991, so it is for the last 23 years that I've been suffering this. But the last 4 years, they have put so much fire on it that they were hoping to destroy my face to some extent. So they're making it a point of honor to attack me, to destroy me, but trying to make me destroy myself. Of course, what they enjoy the most is the effective state of siege. They have effected a state of siege under which I live. What I mean by that is that there is a 24-hour watch on me. If I go out, I know that every single house around me will be able to provide somebody to watch me. If I sit in front of my house, or I sit on the lawn, somebody would come trying to see what I'm doing. They're trying to impress me. They're trying to make me look like I am a dangerous criminal or something like that. I don't know, because if I were a dangerous criminal, then the laws of the country are there for this type of people. They would be judged and they would be put in prison, and it would be a due process. So I knew that something is not right when they are using those tactics, the terror tactics against me. So that's why I said that targeted individuals are victims of terrorism of a new kind, because terrorists, as we know it, as they said in their media, terrorists are people who are fighting for a cause. They have a cause, they have a tactic, they have victims, and when they make a victim, they would go out and say, yes, we did that, But those terrorists that are attacking targeted individuals, uh, they don't say that. They would just do things in hiding. They don't claim their victims. And even when they make somebody insane, or when they kill somebody, they will never rejoice in public, because they don't want us to know that they are hurting people in hiding. And they were hoping that when because they wanted to take the world, they want to overtake the world and rule the world in the wrong direction. So they were hoping to win against humanity, and then when they proclaimed that they were in charge of the human race, then they would uncover themselves, take the masks off. But this will never happen, because God is not crazy to have built such a universe and then leave it to a few satanic people running around on this planet and trying to play God. So this will never happen. They will never take the mask. Why? Because they will never overcome the human race. So their time is over anyway, because since 2012, their time is effectively over. So whatever we are living now is the aftermath of that date. It's like they have done so much to control humanity, that no matter what happens, no matter what happens, they cannot stop like that. So we are still being targeted, we are still being hurt, but their time is over. So knowing, I've come to the realization that I was a targeted individual since 2013, especially 2012-13. But from that moment, I also realized that there was another fact that makes me sure that I was a target on my arrival in Canada. And that fact is that according to Dr. John Hall, for instance, and some other people that I heard, like, Zeph Daniel and things like that, it is clear that 80% of all targeted individuals are women living alone, or women living alone and raising small kids. And I was a perfect target, because I was a woman, I was living alone, I was taking care of 3 kids, and on top of it, I was supposed to be a very easy target because I am black, and I was a new immigrant, I was a refugee, I had everything against me. So that is something that made me sure that, yeah, I was a target since 1988 or 1989. But if I say 80% of targets are women, or women raising kids alone, that is surprising. Yes, it is surprising, because why would they attack women? Why would they want to destroy women and children? Because women and children are the future. So that put me to think. That made me think, and I'm wondering, why would anybody do that? And then I said, Satanists and Kabbalists are trying to get rid of God, to be God on earth, and to rule the world. They are fighting for power. Okay, they are fighting for power. So, and the power is to put the world into the wrong direction. And when you read what they write on their websites, they want to go back to chaos. So they are going against the Creator's rule for the earth. The second thing is that those who terrorize targeted individuals want to control the world. So if they want the world to go to a wrong direction or the opposite direction, which is bad, and at the same time they are targeting individual because those people are doing something that is good, which is counteracting their move towards bad. Attacking women and children is clearly like a strategy. Why would that be a strategy? Because they are going against a certain direction that God has given, the good direction. So why would women be such a hindrance to that work? That also made me think. So my first conclusion is, oh, they are afraid of women the most. They fear women the most. Why? So I said, well, why? And here again, I had to go to the spiritual world to find the answer. But it is not only spiritual, I had to go to history. And in history, I have to go back to Kemet. Kemet is ancient Egypt. So to understand that, I had to say, okay, the first fight against God was in Kemet, and the guy that became Satan was named Set at that time. He had to kill Asar, which is known as Osiris, to take the throne. At that time, Asar's child, Heru, was not capable of fighting him. So when Heru came of age and decided to avenge his dad, he had to fight against Set, a vicious fight because it was merciless. But during all that time, the support that he had was from his mom. His mom's name is Set. Set is known in the West by the name of Isis. And everybody knew at that time that she was a woman of power, a woman of magic, not sorcery, magic. And so yeah, when I said yes, that sounds like the true answer. Set being only Satan, has become Satan. It is an old war that is being waged against women and children. So the 20% of men that are being targeted is really because they are doing something good among humans, but the 80% of women and children that are targeted is because of that old war against God that Set launched against Ammon, which is the creator god that we still call when we say amen at the end of our prayers. So now I understand why women would be targeted with their kids. So when I've seen that and understood that, I said, people who follow Set hate women, and they hate women raising children alone, and they have been fighting them. They have forgotten that Set has not prevailed against Set. But I think that when I look at the way that they have terrorized me, I said, oh my goodness, I as a black woman coming here with my kids, living in a place that was so different from what I've known before, I must have reminded them of Set even more because I was black. And it was, the way that they were attacking even my kids at school and everything in where we lived. I knew that, okay, that hatred against Set was even worse against me. That's why as a black woman, as a refugee, as an immigrant, newly resettled, etc., they did not give me a time of day. They were on my case at any time, and when they surveilled my house every day, 24 hours a day, when I cannot go out without people trying to come and go as if they had to see what I'm doing, etc., etc., I knew that the hatred of of Set for Set and Heru has been even more vivid against me as a target. So even when I did not know that the Kabbalist had a plight as a plot against women, I knew they wanted to push me in a pit that my name was already put on when I came, and they did that with all their might. So my natural resistance, and the resistance of somebody who is innocent, when you're not trying to hurt somebody, you do things just the God's way, and it saves you. So I was resisting without even knowing that I was resisting. I was just doing things to live and make my children live. But at some point it was so hard, because it's like every single little door that was ajar that I've been able to push and get something out of it, every single one of them has been closed by the time we reached 1995. So I said, well, my country was at war. I could not stay there, but at some point it has regained a little bit of peace. So, dying here, dying over there, at least if I go there, I can be of use to me and to other people, hopefully. And why should I stay here and be on welfare, or depend on those handouts, while I can go and still work? Because there was no problem for me to work, so I should go home. So I decided in 1995 to go back in my country of origin, which was Chad. When I came to Canada, I was living as a refugee somewhere else, but at that time I decided to go back to Chad. So my return to Chad had forced the Satanists and Kabbalists not only to follow me there in all possible ways that were unimaginable for my mind, because for me I said, well, they don't want me to live in Canada. And I just want to remind you that I didn't know that I was a target, because I could have known better. But at that time, not knowing that I was a target, I said, well, they don't want me to live here, obviously, because they don't want me to have a job, they don't want me to do this, so maybe when I go to Chad, they would let me be. No. And I was going to discover what every single targeted individual that has tried to move out of their place of torture, which is their residence, every single one of them has been able to understand that where they go, they find the Satanists and Kabbalists already set to continue relentlessly to attack them. So the targeting does not start. It does not stop. It just follows you and changes place with you. So what I discovered with the existence of a community of a targeted individual worldwide was that Satanist Kabbalists had already routinely set up shops that operated in all the European countries, satellite European countries, etc. But countries like Chad, they did not have something working that well as it is working in North America. So the terrorists that were going to follow me did not have active branches in Chad at that time. That's why they had to do so much, that to go there any time and under any circumstances to be able to keep an eye on me. So they acted very ragingly when they came to Chad, and from the time that I went back to Chad to 2009, when they had an effective branch set up, they were acting ragingly to set up that branch of torture, and to set up that branch of torture camp. And what they did was to try to work with the police and to work with the army and to try to work with passport department. And I've seen that there were very strange things going on, and somehow when I meditated, God was letting me know that it has something to do with me, but I could not prove it. I could not prove it until 2009, when they have been able to set up a shop and have people follow me, and slavishly replicating their ways in Canada, so I could see them and just tell them out without any difficulty. So this is what happened when I left, and I found them in my way until they have been settled in Chad also. So that may sound like science fiction. Is, oh yeah, you're trying to fabulate, you're saying things. Yes, it's exactly what they want everybody to think. And that is why most of the time targeted individuals don't speak, especially before Edward Snowden came out and made all these revelations. It was very hard for a target to say what they are living, because it looks like science fiction. It really looks like a science fiction. Yes. So because what they want is to kill you silently, as they say, because this is their favorite modus operandi. They want to kill people silently. They want to destroy you silently. They want to do everything to you without you knowing, understanding even what they are doing to you. But you will see that your life is ruined. So they make sure that you can't talk around you. And they make sure that if you complain, people will say, oh yeah, this woman or that person is just touched in the head. Yet they could not totally eliminate the risk of people believing a specific target. Why? Because some people know that person before. Why? Again, because maybe they don't have any reason to believe that person is crazy, even if they don't know them that much. So what they do is, as soon as they have targeted you, they try to put everybody around you on a payroll. So they're paying them hefty, very good money to help them, and they have impoverished the world so much already. So they always find people who are in need of money and ready to do the terrible work of watching people for them. And so they always find people. But they are not sure that they will eliminate the risk of people believing that they are doing wrong to somebody for nothing. So what they do is try to give you a bad name, to campaign against you, to make people believe that you are maybe somebody that you cannot figure out, that somebody can think about those things about you. So they make that campaign around you, and try to make people hate you, because they want to destroy the victim's image in all the manners they can, because they were hoping in that way to preventing anybody from believing you. So in general, they have done well, because I've seen people just start following me around, start trying to hurt me, and I've done nothing to those people. I've not known those people, so it means that their strategy, to some extent, it works. And in my case, when I went back to Chad, they did not have the advantage that they had here. They can turn people around against me very easily. I was an immigrant family with living alone with 3 kids. It was easy to give me a bad name, which I don't know, because I have no idea what name they gave me. But when I went to Chad, what they did was to ask every single person, because I was teaching in the English department, so what they wanted to know is, like, any single person that spoke a little bit of English, that went to the European embassies and American and North American embassies, or had contact with North American white people, every single one of them has been asked if they know me. And the reason for that is, if they want to give me a bad name in Chad, they have to find allies in Chad, because it's not like here where they have the terrain completely covered by them. So in Chad, what they do is to ask everybody. And people genuinely would think, oh yeah, do you want to know her or whatever? And then, no, nothing happens. Why? Because what they're doing is to try to find out if somebody doesn't like me. If somebody doesn't like me, they will keep that person handy, and they would try to help those people. And because they always do things in hiding, so they would go and start to know more about me through that person. If the person doesn't like me, of course, they would find all the dirt that they want, and then try to help the people who have some dirt against me, and they would use them. Or what they did also is, when they have been able to find somebody whom I know, who knows me, and maybe he had a beef against me, or he has been co-opted with a good job, etc., etc., they use those people to try to harass me, and they would give them some one-sided info and then use them against me. So at some point I said, well, especially around the year 2012, even though I was not focusing on the calendars, like the one that has been named Mayan, but which was really an Egyptian calendar, even though I was not really counting on that, I was feeling that I did not have to be silent about what I was living through anymore, especially that what they do is, as I was suffering inside, and you see that they are pumping a bit more microwave on my face. I'm saying something that they don't really want me to say. So even though I was not counting on the end of the Satanist cycle, I felt that I had to start defending myself. So the Satanist would provoke me more as we were nearing the end of 2012. So I was feeling it more also in my right to defend myself. So I started talking to them, trying to call them, are you a snitch? Asking questions like that, and they would deny. So for me, when they deny that they are not a snitch, I say, okay, God, they denied it, so take them out of this spiral. So I was already trying to find my way out. But at some point, I heard the testimonies of other targets, and they were writing about what they are living through. So I said, well, I will write also my account, but I was not wanting to publish it. I wanted to write it and maybe go to human rights and find out if I can press my complaint and see what happens. But even that, it was like too much. So when I started to do some research about that, I went under the worst attacks. The worst. It was really lethal. They wanted to kill me, What they did was they started preventing me from doing the research. So when I sit at the computer and I wanted to go through what is online already about other people's plight, they would bombard me. They don't want my eye to open, and you can see that when they really wanted, they bombard from here to the whole area between my eye, my forehead, and my eye, my jaw, my whatever, until my shoulder on the right side. this is their playground. They would just put so much microwave on it that I cannot read, but I just say, I'm not going to let you win this war, so even if I have to read with one eye, I will read with one eye, and if I have to stop 10 times before I finish reading a sentence, I would do that, but I will finish that because this is my life. So this is how I went on doing the research. When I started writing, it was another game, because at that time they wanted to block my head, like the Broca area, controlling memories and everything. They wanted to destroy it, to really destroy it. So I would wake up in the morning and I would feel like vomiting, feel like I was sick in the stomach. And I was very, very, very attacked. Like my heart, they would try to make it stop. They would, like my face would contract at night. My teeth would grind, but to a level that I've never experienced before. So they would do all those things to prevent me from writing, because they did not prevent me from doing my research, and now they wanted to prevent me from writing. So now that I was writing, they wanted to prevent me from publishing, because they didn't want me to write the book in the first place, and publishing was out of the question. And to do that, what they did was to try to modify the text that I'm writing. So at some point, I don't know what I'm going to put online, what I'm going to write. So now I say, okay, you can transform everything that I'm writing. I have a copy of what I wrote. So whatever you destroy, whatever you change, is going to be a proof for me that you have been doing that. So I don't care anymore. I'm just going to publish that book. But Satanists are accustomed to quickly destroy lives. And as I was saying, they launch a lot of force against every target. So they are accustomed to kill people or destroy their lives very quickly. So somehow my passive resistance led them to increase the number of fires, because when I started writing, it's like, how can you dare to do that? So they increased all fires against me because of that. And because the attacks became so lethal, I could not prevent myself from thinking about what I read in the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. That protocol is the modus operandi of all the Satanists to this day, even though they have a watered version, a weeded version of that protocols that is called quiet weapons for silent wars. But the principal account of their tactics is really in the protocols of the learnings of the protocols of the meetings of the learned elders of Zion. So these, of course, is a version that we have from 50 years ago, 60 years ago, which means that, when the Bilderbergs companies and all those Satanist groups meet in high secrecy, we know that they are just making those protocols up to date and with better weapons against targeted individuals. So I could understand totally what they were doing to me when I read those, because even though when I read this for the first time, I was really afraid, because I say, such evil, is it possible that somebody can come up with such evil? But after a while, I said, oh, it's good to read that, and read it with an open eye and open mind, especially read it and let God teach you, because God is telling us what is, it doesn't matter if you don't want to read it, you cannot escape the effect anyway. So it's better to know what they are doing, so that you see your enemy and you know. So I understood that this is what they were doing. They are used to kill people silently and do it quick. But I was not dying quick enough. But this is something that could be of a wonder, because one can say, well, how have you been targeted for 25 years? You came here as a refugee, single mother with 3 kids, and everything was impacting you that way. And how have you been able to resist for 25 years? Yes, I did not resist per se. I did not wage a war. I was on the receiving end of a lot of destructive actions, but my resistance per se was a grace of God. I was just protected by God, because I did not know what was going on. I was just minding my own business at first. Then when attacks targeted at my body started, because at first they were trying to mess with my mind, because I guess that this is how they get people fast, is to mess with their mind and make them go crazy. So they started with messing with my mind, and then they started attacking my body. And for instance, the contractions on my face, at first it was very disgraceful, of course, but it was not painful in 1991 when it started, but little by little they would make it painful. So from 2008 onwards, due to more and more vicious attacks on my body, especially on my main joints, my main joints, which started being affected, and those sicknesses, forced sicknesses. No doctor has been able to tell me that they were known sicknesses. So they started with my my mind, and then they started they attacked my body. They started, and they move around, because they want to find they want to find a weak point in your body to be able to make it a condition that they can use to control you or destroy you. So considering the ever-growing level of attacks on my life since 2013, when I started writing a book on my plight, I can say that they are not yet satisfied, because I'm still alive, and the point is to kill me, but I'm still alive. So what they do is, I can see clearly that the manpower that they are launching against me, the people that they can put on call around my house, and the people that can follow me everywhere, the people who come from anywhere just to be able to, from nowhere, and just to be able to see me at the cashier, etc., etc. All this makes me make me think that they are not yet satisfied. My computer is their playground. Everything in my house is their playground. They come in as they want. They destroy what they want to destroy, and then they try to touch things, move things around, make a little break on this, destroy a little bit of this, or steal a little bit of this and go, but they continue to. So now they are combining, messing with my mind, messing with my body, messing with my things, messing with everything in my life, because they wanted to get what they wanted, which is to destroy me somehow. So for me, after 25 years, if I'm still okay, if my mind is still working, if my body is not invalid, etc., etc., I just attribute it to God and the grace that God gives to people who are innocent. So my biggest success during my 25 years ordeal and 25 years and going on was over myself, because what they do is so scary, so terrifying, that most of the time we don't know what to do, and we just want it to be over. But we don't think about the thing that we can get out of it. So I had to struggle a lot, but at some point I find that my biggest success was over myself. And what I mean by that is I've been able to integrate in myself, in my instinctive reaction, the fact that when I have somebody facing me who is trying to play God, I don't have to fight them. But what I should do is to take hiding behind God, the real God, the creator of all, and then make them face God. Because if they want to be God, they should fight with God, not with humans. So what I do is to hide behind God and let them fight with God. So and furthermore, because I believe in God, so I know that as long as I have not given up the plan of God for my life, as long as I want to achieve every single thing that God has planned for me, that I came to achieve, as long as I want that, there is no problem, because God will always be there for me and protect me. And being with God does not mean that I have to run into an organized congregation, a religious congregation. That doesn't mean that you have to do that to be with God. To be with God is really to have a direct contact with God, talk to God, find out what God wants from you if you don't know it yet. So I know what God wants from me. So because of that, I can go to God every time and get to understand what I should do, what I should not do. Because something that we have all to remember is, with each plan that the devil and his advocates are trying to implement in my life, God has a better plan for me. So, but the devil is trying to prevent you from getting to your plan, the plan that God has for you, by messing the water around you, so that if you focus on the mess, you are not going to cross that water. So what I do is, I don't care, you mess it, I'll cross it, because I have to get to the other side, to God's side. So going through the problems and accepting them and letting God face the devil's advocates has helped me a lot, because for me, at first, because I was westernized so much in my ways, in my way of seeing life and reasoning, I thought that I had to fight. I had to be there. I had to help God, so to speak. So when I knew that no, the problem has to be solved differently, that was my biggest success on myself. And does that mean that when they attack me, I don't have any pain? Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. Because pain that they inflict on people, we can call them growing pains, actually. Because when they inflict those pains on you, and what I discovered is that by accepting to let that pain come and go, and experience that pain, it made me grow. It made me grow in my in many ways. I learned a lot in the course of my suffering too. So while God lets the suffering go on, the best thing God has given me, in my experience, the best thing that God has given me is really the protection. But the suffering I had to go through. So I went through it, I suffered, and I learned a lot about with it and in the course of it. That is why attacks on my vital organs that could have killed me just the first time have not been able to kill me the way the Satanists want and that has forced them to set shop around my house 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, and doing all kinds of things, trying to prevent anything that can help me survive. So I have really let God take charge of my life in that way. And I was being attacked every day and every night, of course. So when the attacks are meant to prevent me from doing something, like when I was writing, they thought that when they attack my head all sorts of ways during the night, I would be so tired in the morning that I could not work, I could not be productive. But because I have been able to understand what I had to do, I would come up, go out, get a breath of fresh air, come back and pray to God and say, God, all the energy that they have thrown at me during that night, now I want to function on that to be able to do what I have to do. And, it works wonderful, because when I prayed like that, I would work even better than the days I was not attacked at night and I could work during the day. So it's really you have to understand that they're trying to hurt you, but you should not do things their way. You should do things in the ways that God will inspire you to do. So if I had to name one thing that any targeted individual should remember, I will say that the Satanist Kabbalists give a lot of hints about what they are afraid of through the types of attacks that they launch on each of us. What I mean by that is, if they're attacking my brain, they want me to go insane, or they want me to go, to have a blank memory, not to remember what I'm doing. It means that my brain is terrorizing them. So what I do is, okay, this is what you're doing. You want this part of me to die or to function badly. Therefore, I put it in front of God. So I say, okay, God, make this part of my brain that they're attacking even sharper. So realizing that way of doing and functioning has helped me to know the parts of my body for which I would pray for extra regeneration. So when they attack whatever part of my body, I put that immediately in front of God, and I say, God, now make that parts of my body function even better, so I would pray for extra regeneration for each part of my body. And we have to be patient, because God also works according to his own calendar, which means that you can pray for that, and if it is vital, God will grant it immediately. But if it is something that you have to suffer more, to understand more, to get more out of it, we have to just go with God, because God knows where we should go to do well. So even though the Satanists are still inflicting a lot of pain on us, even though the Satanists seem to be still in power, we should not forget that their time is over, and that now is a time when all the targeted individual of the world can overthrow the Satanist order. And it doesn't mean that we are going to put them down immediately, but by resisting, by accepting to do things differently, we are going to contribute into their faster overthrow. So we, as a targeted community, we should remember that we are not fighting a lonely battle. We are not fighting for us as a person, but we are fighters in the camp of God, in the army of God. Therefore, the fight that we are fighting for the kingdom of God, and even when we don't know it, we are fighting for God. Therefore, God is the only one who can lead us best. So what I mean by that is, if they are attacking me, and I'm a woman alone with kids, or living alone, and so many people are attacking me, there is no way I can fight back. But if I say, oh my God, this is your war that I'm fighting, I don't have to be at all fronts, because I know you have people at all fronts, invisible, and fighting for me. Therefore, you can go by your business, do whatever you have to do, and God is fighting for you too, because you just hold your ground, and God is doing the rest. But Satan and his followers are tricky. So this is one of the things that targeted individuals should know. The trick is, they have been doing that for ages, so they have tricks and tricks and tricks galore. So what I can point out for my reason not to die is the fact that my tight fellowship with God has helped me know the tricks, hear the tricks, see the tricks, avoid the tricks. Satan will not, because they are, by attacking targeted individuals in a sneaky way, it is a proof that they don't have a right to kill you, to make you go insane, to destroy your life. They have no right. So the tricks is to try to push you into being the agent of your own destruction. And the tricks, above all, they want you to forget that you are a fighter for God. That's why they have tried to make a world a place where God is not welcome. But what I did was to really not get anything from them. Whatever they had to offer, God would show me the trick, and then I would prefer to suffer rather than go with the thing that they offered. So that's one of the reasons why I've been able to avoid the tricks and go by my business, because of that tight fellowship with God. So as inflicting pain is at the basis of the ways to break targeted individuals, resisting is not something that you do alone, because sometimes pain is one of the first tricks that they use, because if you cannot stand the pain, then they hope that by inflicting more and more pain, you will accept to do what they want to do. But the worst part is they want you to be yourself, to censor yourself for them, And for me to understand what was going on, not only the people who suffered before testified, and I've been able to hear, but I have really learned a lot with people like Barry Trower, Dr. Barry Trower. He is a microwaves expert, and he has used them a long time ago. He knows what it is. So he has, this guy, if you go and read, and on the internet you can find what he has said. When you read or hear what he says, it helps a lot. So the attacks against targeted individuals, I couldn't figure out why I would get up in the morning and feel deep seated pain in parts of my body, why I would wake up in the morning and have headaches, why I would have pain in a part of my body, and tomorrow it is gone, or tomorrow it is less painful, and I didn't take any medication. All those things were happening in my life. All the pains and the hurts and everything were happening on top of all the do to you to prevent you from fending for yourself. So I could not understand until Barry Trower gave us the modus operandi via microwaves. They use microwave to pinpoint a part of your body. They know all the acupuncture and acupressure points in your body, and they would just send the microwaves to the specific part of your body that they want to make dysfunctional. So this is how I've been able to know a little bit more. And every time I listen to Barry Trower, he has spoken, and then so many people are now coming up with what they know about mind control and use of microwaves and all kinds of waves that we don't even know they're using. For instance, when they want to, they hurt me so much that they hoped that I would stop. I did not stop. They started using this type of wave that is like a very faint cricket sound, and it is very unnerving. It makes your head go like, you're going to burst. So these two, when we have it, it is very difficult to stand, but when they use it, we have to stand and accept that this is what they're doing, and if it is happening, God has a plan for us. Just remember, Satan's plan, God's plan is better. It is just next to it, but you have to go through it, accept it, satanic plan, accept that they make you suffer, and then you will reach the grace of God with a lot of benefits. So, and also we have to know that, as they say in the protocols of the Elders of Zion, when they kill, they want to kill you in a way that looks natural, that you died of a natural cause. That's why they try to give you a heart attack during the night, or they want to make your body parts dysfunctional. So they want to kill you silently, as they love to say it. So we have to know those things so that we can ask for extra grace from God to be able to stand it. So what do microwaves attack do to the body? As I said, they make the body, the part of the body dysfunctional, and when they make it dysfunctional, it is easier, like, as they say, you take you exclude a part from the body, then you attack it to make it a problem. So I have had an excellent health. Everything was working just fine, and excellent condition. So what they did, and how I was sure that something was not right, is that what they do is they attack one part of your body that they think is weak, and then when they attack it, they repeat, and if they're not finding the result that they want, they would move to another part of your body, etc., etc. So they are moving really like sorcerers, for people in Africa, especially in Africa, because here the sorcerers have made sure that as they want to make God disappear, they want to make people think that sorcerers don't exist in the West, but the worst sorcerers are operating in the West. They are called Satanists and Kabbalists. They are using sorcery every single time. So in my case, because I put God all the time, they found God in every way that led to me. They had to use even sorcery to try to attack me even more. But all these, even though you suffer at first, just stay on the course of God, and this will not go on anymore. It's because God is my Savior. That's how I've been able to resist, and how I've been able to withstand all the microwave attacks on all my. I don't see which part of my body that has not been attacked. They have attacked every single part of my body, because they were looking for a place in my body that they can make so dysfunctional that it would become a problem. And you know that heart attacks and cancer are the result of those treatments that they give to targeted individuals. So at this point, if I want to provide a spiritual explanation to microwave attacks, I would say that they are the only way Satanists who do not have any case against innocent people could try to kill them without having a legitimate reason to do so. And for those who are Christian, you may remember that when Satan wanted to attack Job, what he did was to go and request the permission from God, so to speak. So when there is no good reason, he has to try to make you participate in your own destruction. So their attacks are similar to those of, as I said, sorcerers. Africans would more easily understand that than Westerners, because in the West they have tried to make the sorcerers, like they are not existent, even though they are ruling the world in the West also. But in Africa, people are still open-minded, and they know that those people exist, and they are trying to push you to do something to help them hurt you. So, for instance, in Africa, a sorcerer would come and try to find a problem with you, be in your way, and then when you say something nasty, they would use it to try to attack you. Here, it is the same way, but worse. But really worse, because they try every single way, like microwaves, they can put it on you, and you have not done anything, but they do it anyway. So instead of being satisfied with the state-of-the-art technology, such as microwaves and everything that they use, the Satanists are still using sorcery very much, and people should be aware of that, to know, at least to research and see and understand, and also ask God to help them go through it. So this will conclude my first video. This is my first video which will be followed by other videos, and I will talk about what I wrote about my situation, and the book that they didn't want me to publish. I will talk about that also, and I wish you a happy day or night, whatever time you are in now, and I leave you in the grace of God, and may the peace of God be with you. Amen.